Welcome to the Rally Cruise podcast, where we dig deep to reach high, and of course, always progress through action. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter,
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Good evening.
and we are coming at you right after the Thanksgiving holiday. Ram, before we get into it, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Spent time with the family, and of course, I had some barbecue. Skipped the turkey this year.
Okay.
I feel like it's too much work to actually make the turkey
Mm.
taste really good, so omitted that part. And been eating leftovers, and it's been pretty good. How about yourself?
When is the leftovers time frame up? Is it Sunday? Is it today? Is it next Sunday? Is it Christmas? We're all over the place in the
I, f-
diaspora. So what do you
I
think?
f- I feel like it's like 5 days, and then that's
5 days.
so
So
like Tuesday, and that's it.
Tuesday, Wednesday, we're getting a little like, what's wrong with you? Thursday, a week out, we're side eyeing you. Friday, we need to call the hospital because you're probably gonna get food poisoning.
Yeah, I'm good after that.
Okay,
But like if you got turkey too, turkey's like it's dry. Like
it's
if
dry.
it's
It's a
the
dry meat.
breast is dry, yeah, it's like
Hmm.
you had to
Yeah,
doctor it up, pour it like mayo, dress it like
make some sandwiches out of it. What you're saying?
salads,
Turkey
I
salads,
don't know,
right?
something, yeah. It
Yeah.
needs help.
Our Thanksgiving was good. We kind of had like a Friendsgiving slash, regular Thanksgiving, but we also are kind of deconstruct the entire holiday, and want to make it about just us as people of different backgrounds coming together, just enjoying each other's time. And we did talk about the actual true meaning behind it while we're together as friends and family, and not kind of the old church folks who are like, "This is a day for Jesus." This is like, no, this is a day of mourning for a lot of indigenous folks on Turtle Island. So we want to remind each other of that, remember that. But we did do something fun. We did a presentation. Everybody had to do a presentation of whatever topic they wanted. Even my son did one. It had to be from 7 to 10 slides. And we kind of just went. So my son did like a Pokemon and like how that Pokemon evolves. My wife did she did 5 things about space, like black holes and rogue planets and dual star systems and things like that. And because we talked about at the end of our last episode, what I landed on was the or does the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do they get down with Zoran Mamdani? Because they're both in New York City, right? So these four teenage New Yorkers, do they get down with Zoran Mamdani? And I used the four turtles, and I put against each turtle a policy plan, campaign promise that Mamdani had. So it was universal child care, free busing, community-run grocery stores, and what's the other one? Universal child care.
Okay.
So each turtle had kind of a rundown. We ended up being three of the turtles would like Mamdani. They voted for him. That would have been Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello. Raph voted for Cuomo, and then Master Splinter voted for Curtis Lewa. So we just
Okay.
kind of we rolled all that, and it was really good. So yeah.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
but
That,
speaking
that
of
sounds about right.
yeah. So that's our Thanksgiving. But speaking of politics, we do have a guest today, who is a rising star in local politics, and we've been seeing him not just on local news but on national news. If you want to kind of set that up for us, Ron.
Yeah, before we jump in real quick, if you're listening, whether it's live or the recording, please like, share, subscribe, follow, so on and so forth. And if you're joining us live tonight, please do comment. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that last couple of weeks. But we do have a returning guest, JD from Charlotte, JD Mazuera Arias. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I
You got to get it right.
apologize.
You got to get it right, bro.
But he is one of the newest Charlotte City Council members who will be sworn in tomorrow, and this is his second time joining us. And the timing, I think, is really good because, well, there's been a lot going on in Charlotte. So we'll go ahead and bring JD in and let him introduce himself.
Thank y'all. I'm so excited to be back. Thanks again for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to this timely and insightful conversation.
Great. You're being sworn in tomorrow. Are you excited? How are you feeling?
I'm super excited. I am elated. I am ready to get to work. I'm ready to not only do the work for the people of East Charlotte, but for the overall people of Charlotte, but also to be held accountable, right? One can only do this job well if we are held to the standard that folks held me to when I was campaigning. And ultimately, I'm now not just representing the people that voted for me, but also the people that did not vote for me, the people that did not care to vote, and the people who don't have the ability to vote, or because of our current structures and systems put in place, couldn't vote because our electoral voting process is so messed up in a way that it disenfranchises a lot of folks. And so I'm representing everyone. I'm excited. There were some council members in previous meetings that said, we can't, new elected council members couldn't vote on certain things because they first had to figure out where the restroom is. And listen, I am proud to report that I finally figured out where the restrooms are.
There we go. Okay.
I'm going to hit the ground running the moment I'm sworn in.
Hard-hitting news. You guys hear it first.
Well, that's great. Again, congratulations. Last time we talked, you had just I think you announced you were running, and you beat out the Democratic incumbent. And so, how was that experience? Especially the day of.
It was I ran on a campaign on transparency, so I'm going to be very transparent when I say my experience. It was a very humbling one. It's a lot of folks want you to check all the boxes, right? But what I kept oftentimes telling folks is, you might not agree with 100% of what I'm saying. I might not agree with 100% of what you're saying, but ultimately that seat does not belong to me, JD Mazuera Arias. It does not belong to me. It belongs to the people of District 5. And I'm going to do the best I can to represent the voices of all of District 5. From the folks that live in the more urban areas to the folks that live all the way in the far east, which is more suburban and rural. The campaign itself was a roller coaster. You had your highs, you had your lows. The campaign really turned up a notch when I got the Charlotte Observer endorsement. That was an endorsement that really built the credibility and spoke to the viability of this campaign as a newcomer, as a first-time candidate, and as somebody that was challenging a two-term incumbent who was seeking a third term, right? That endorsement within itself was huge, and I felt it immediately because that was the week I was attacked on all ends. I was questioned about my experience in Congress, how young I was, my citizenship, everything, which, at the end of the day, all those attacks, I don't know, I don't take them seriously, right? If anything, it allowed me to be more sharp, to take things with a grain of salt, and to just keep on moving. The day of the election was an interesting one because we had been leading up to it, and the energy and the momentum on the ground really, and I've worked in campaigns, right? That's how I really started. I started as an activist, and I started to do campaigns. So I was very into polling and, kind of feeling what the ground game felt like and whatnot. The energy on the ground was very much so like a 60-70 JD, right? 30-40 the incumbent. The day of the election, though, I called my team. I believe it was around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. So 7 hours before polls were going to close. And I said, this is not what we thought it was going to be. This is going to be a 50-50 election. And I called it first, and it was a 50-50 election. I won by just 34 votes. That night, and listen, I was just I had my blinders on. I was only focused on poll greeting, going to all the polling locations. But we accomplished something that I do not think any municipal election or campaign in the Charlotte area has accomplished in a while. Which was that we had, and I want folks to listen carefully to the choice of words I'm about to make. The day of the election, out of the 27 precincts that we had in Charlotte, so there was like 27, but some of them were restricted, so volunteers couldn't be there, whatnot. So there was like a total of 20 precincts that folks could be at. By the end of the day, for 4 hours consecutively, we had 15 out of the 20 precincts fully staffed by unpaid volunteers.
There you go.
Mainly folks that lived in the district, poll greeting voters for 4 hours. And throughout the entire day, we had at least 11, 12 precincts fully covered the entire day.
That's
out
awesome.
of the 20. And by the end of the day, by the last 4 hours, we had 15. So it was incredible. And we had over 50 volunteers that day. Went to my election watch party. It was great. People were kind of asking me, how are you feeling, whatnot. It got to a point where people were like, you don't seem nervous. The numbers weren't looking good. And I said, I looked around and it was a room of nearly 100 people in there. 100 people for a primary municipal election. For a district. It wasn't even at large. A district council seat. And I looked around and there were Black folks. There's lesbian Black women, gay white men, Latinos, Middle Eastern, young, elder, babies, blue hair, brown hair, blonde hair. I looked at that room and I said, this is who we are as East Charlotte. We are the melting pot of the city. And whatever the result is, I made all of us, this campaign, not me, all of us, we made it possible to sit and coexist with one another and see each other's humanity. And that for me was enough, right? We had created something special. And then we won by 37 votes that night. The initial unofficial election results. Then the provisional ballots were counted. We went down to 33. Then the incumbent, with all her right, wanted a recount. She got her recount. I even made a statement supporting her right to have a recount because I too would have asked for a recount. It was really close. And we got one more vote out of that. So we won officially by 34 votes.
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah. I mean, this goes to show every little bit counts. I mean, you might have won the day of with your volunteers at the precinct. I mean, any little part of your entire journey, counted towards something. And so I think it speaks volumes, especially like, Charlotte, North Carolina, these elections are close. It's amazing how close a lot of these elections are. The other thing is in Charlotte and the people who live here in North Carolina, I think I don't know if a lot of folks realize how like diverse Charlotte especially really is. I'm from Chicago and like on paper it's diverse, but like Charlotte I truly like everywhere I go, I'm like, this is a true melting pot of, diverse backgrounds and people go about their days and, just normal, right? We're like not, you look at the internet sometimes, you look at comments and it's very discouraging and you would think, it's like this super racist city. I'm not saying like people, when they're out in public, they may not say as much in public, but when you're out, people are, it's a great city. So congratulations again. So a couple weeks after you were after you were officially elected, we had the Customs and Border Patrol come to Charlotte and what they called Operation Charlotte's Web. And I know you were heavily involved with some of the organizing, the coordination, the communication, which, I saw come together shortly after it was apparent they were coming. Chicago kind of reached out, started working with Charlotte. What was that experience like for you, especially like when you, from, the first few hours of when you realized they were coming and then when they started to hit the ground and actually started to show up in these communities and what I would consider just terrorizing communities?
Oof. I mean, I'll start with what I told somebody the other day. I had just, we had just experienced a battlefield. When we first found out that it was the Tuesday before the operation started on Saturday, we got reports. CNN had reported it. CBS has reported it. That's how everyone found out. And then, of course, the local media got wind of those national outlets reporting on it. I'll be honest with you. My first knee-jerk reaction was my safety, my family's safety, and my brothers and sisters in the undocumented community who I grew up with. I was formerly undocumented myself. I was, still am fearful of what all of this means for them, and I immediately was, I was paralyzed. Again, I want to be as authentic as I can be. My partner is a reporter for the local NPR station here, WFAE. Disclaimer to everyone: he does not report on me. Okay.
All right, hold on now.
Contrary to popular belief from other people that are not in agreement with me. But that being said, his beat is on immigration and Latinos, and for a while, I had wanted to create a healthy distance from his reporting because it is traumatizing. It is a trigger for me. I went through a lot of emotions during the first Trump administration when it was targeted to little kids, and he and his administration separated kids as young as 3 months old from their parents, holding them in, quite frankly, what I call it, concentration camps. And I very much so tried to create a distance, but the moment met me. I felt an enormous amount of responsibility as the first Latino elected to the Charlotte City Council and the first formerly undocumented immigrant elected to the Charlotte City Council to do something. Disclaimer, I'm a council member elect. I have virtually no power, right? But that title within itself could carry a lot more. I think the people of Charlotte and voters are smart enough to understand what we can and cannot do as a city council, the limitations that the state puts on us across all municipal entities, government entities across the state of North Carolina. But what people appreciate the most, and Maya Angelou said it once, people are not going to care what you tell them, what you're doing to them. They're going to care, and they will always remember how you make them feel.
That's right.
And for me, it was showing up wherever. And so me and my good buddy, State Representative Jordan Lopez, got together, and it was, kind of the birth of his idea of like, we should come out with a joint statement. And we were very meticulous with it. We could have included a lot of folks, right? But we also understood that we just got these reports, and we wanted to be as urgent as possible.
That's right.
We wanted to be as timely as possible to make sure that people knew that we were listening, right? Because oftentimes when you want to include everyone, that statement is going to take 4 days to come out, right? And so we were really particular in including elected officials who had large immigrant populations, who themselves were immigrant, or who had very close ties to the immigrant experience, right? And that included Representative Jordan Lopez, Senator Caleb Theodores, Senator Mohammed, Council Member Dimple Ishmira, CMS School Board Member Liz Monterey, County Commissioner Susan Rodriguez McDowell. We got all together, put out a statement. And it was the statement heard around North Carolina. I mean, like, it made its way through everywhere because folks were just impressed at the timeliness, at the urgency of it. And that it came across from all levels of government in the state, right? And then from there on, it was rapid response. Wherever I was needed, I was there. I am a trained a verified watcher. So when I would hear reports of CBP, Also, another thing to make clear, CBP and ICE, two different things. That was the first thing that came into my mind. CBP is a more militarized and unchecked and aggressive form of enforcement that is specific and unique to border cities and towns in the United States. Let me make it clear. Los Angeles, not a border city. And Chicago, Chicago is different. Chicago
technically is a border city.
Yeah, they were using that. Yeah, it's not, but they were using it.
Technically, yeah,
right.
It's not right. We're divided by a lake, right? But like on land border, not there, and Charlotte neither. So immediately, what people need to recognize is that what do these three cities have in common right now? They're democratically led, and they're led by a black mayor. Los Angeles, black mayor. Chicago, black mayor. Charlotte, black mayor. So it was very intentional. Anyways, long story short, very rapid response. I had to put aside my own personal feelings and just show up for the community, because oftentimes I tell myself, who do I want to be in this world? And I want to be somebody that little JD could have looked up to when he was growing up, right? So right now, my feelings, my own fears did not matter. What mattered is, who do people want to look to in a time of a crisis when, quite frankly, and my colleagues know this, a lot of folks know this, I was disappointed in the response, right? Of a lot of local elected officials, and not uniquely to Charlotte or Mecklenburg, just across, right? From the state level to the county level to the city level. Now, I will say there are elected officials that really stood by the community then, but by and large, I was underwhelmed. I was disappointed. And so it was a moment of reckoning. It was a moment. I spoke to Charlotte City Council last week in front of them. It was their last meeting before, and I said, Charlotte is typically not a political city. We go as business as usual. But the moment has met us where we need to decide whether the livelihoods of our people are political or business as usual. And we need to become a more politically engaged city. We have come to understand under this administration that municipal governments, local government, is oftentimes the last line of defense, facing and combating an authoritarian administration like this administration that we're living through right now. And, I'll end with this. The most beautiful thing about my community, the Latino community, which a lot of Black and brown communities can also relate to, but my own experience as a Latino person is, when we are met with trials and tribulations, when we are met with fear, with despair, with anxiety, we always find a way to make it a party. And outside of Manolo's Bakery, which is a Latino-owned small business in District 5, in the heart of District 5, in the heart of East Charlotte, that storefront became the symbol of hope, resistance, and unity in this moment. And throughout the week, starting Monday night, these kids, these children of immigrants started to gather on their own. It was not planned. It was organic. It started with a group of friends and then went to another group of friends and whatnot. And every single night, hundreds of children, teenagers, and young adults came and waved not only the American flag, but their flag where their families are from, where their roots are in, and played reggaeton, hip hop, reggae, and played rancheras and banda and cumbia, and had streetcar performances and all these things. And small businesses that had closed down on Central Avenue came out and catered for free, provided free food to these kids and inflatables and whatnot. And it was beautiful. And let me tell you something. We all know the racist an authoritarian history of police, of local law enforcement. I was surprised. They called me and they said, these kids are only going to listen to you, JD. Please help us. Because at first, they were on the street and whatnot, and they were in the medium. And so it became more about safety, right? We just didn't want something, especially in such tense moments.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want anybody to get hurt and for anything to cause something to become something that it wasn't. Anyways, and I went, and every morning I would talk to the division. Every night I would go there in person and speak to the officers myself. And I would explain to the kids as well and whatnot. And so me and Representative Jordan Lopez, every single night, were out on Central Avenue, making sure these kids were protesting safe, but not only that, protesting with them. There was one night we got a little bit chaotic, and I was pushing these kids to the street, and this group of kids were like, Theo JD, Uncle JD, we voted for you. Don't police on how we're supposed to protest. And I was like, whoa. And it was a humbling moment, and also like a reality check, right? Sometimes, and oftentimes you see this with our elders. We are raised in an environment where we are taught that sometimes demonstrating these radical ways of loving and of unity and of demonstration leads us into dangers, and then that we need to fulfill a certain standard that society has beholden us to especially Black folks who protest, brown folks who protest, right? And it was a reminder, because this girl pushed me aside and she goes, relax and look around you and see if anybody's actually unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this truck that was like doing burnouts, and it like its transmission kind of busted, and all these kids ran to it, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, like, please get away from it. And she goes, stay still and actually wait for you to see what happens. It's like if she was a psychic. The kids were pushing the truck because it couldn't drive anymore. They were pushing the truck to the side of the road to make sure that the driver was okay and that the car was okay. And then these kids went out and tried to be amateur mechanics and whatnot and all these things.
A pit crew.
And I literally was like, this is amazing. And so, anyways, that as incoherent as that, my
that was great.
That's how it felt.
Yeah. That's community, it's visibility, it's I think as the day started, from the morning till the evenings of this constant pressure of ICE running around, or CBP, and sometimes ICE, I think to be able to release that is also important. And I think, Charlotte, the CMPD, I think it sounds like they didn't escalate the situation. They knew what was going on. And I think, it speaks volumes that you're, communicating with them, right, as a leader in the community. And then, also, like you said, a humbling moment, like, don't police us on how to protest. Like, it's a little bit different space, when you become an elected official, but also knowing that there needs to be a release, there needs to be community, this party, this, this feeling. So one thing you mentioned about the response and being disappointed in that, I'll say it, like, I thought it was very milquetoast from the mayor, from the governor, especially when you compare it to like Chicago and Illinois. So Mayor Brandon Johnson, Governor J.B. Pritzker, who he started to go a little absent on the end there, but they were definitely way more, forceful in terms of the resistance, if you will. But I observed that as well. So you got a national. You were on national news during this week as well. How was that? How did that feel to be, kind of torpedoed into that space? Kind of. I'm assuming your first time, but I saw you on, I think it was CNN. You were probably on other outlets as well.
Yeah, I was also on MSNBC, which is now MS Now.
MS Now.
Now I call it like Miss Now.
Right. Like, what do you call that? Right.
That acronym. I was not taking, I got a lot of requests for national media interviews. I was not taking them at first because I really was trying to protect my peace, and I really was focused about what the community was feeling. And for me, not everybody watches CNN, not everybody watches MS Now. Really, political junkies do, right? And not also like, but every night people are watching their local news. They're watching the WBTV, they're watching WCCB, right? They're watching the ABC and whatnot, or they're reading it at the Charlotte Observer or hearing it on NPR, WFAE. So for me, the first half of this situation was mainly focused on local media. I wanted to make sure that the local community got our messaging and my communication at least clear. Every night, despite how tired I was, I would make an English and a Spanish video informing the community of what was happening on the ground. And my priority was that. First, my priority was showing up. Second, it was communicating on my social media. Third, it was the local media outlets. The national media outlets, I was hesitant for two things. One, I don't know how effective that would have been, right? And again, my priority was communicating with the people on the ground, not with somebody who was in San Francisco watching or New York City, right? Or whatnot. And also my safety. I worked for a prominent member of Congress, Miss AOC, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and I got the first whiff of hate messages when I was working in her office, when folks found out that I was formerly undocumented there and, whatnot. And they would call the constituent office and would death threats and whatnot. But I oftentimes had said, like, you can attack me all you want. What I'm really concerned about is my family, right? And my loved ones. Now, you touch them, I don't know. Like, I that really hurts me. So more than thinking about myself, I was thinking about the people around me and the hate they would receive. But then again, it was one of these moments where, like, the moment has met Charlotte. Who are we going to be as a city? Who are we going to define ourselves as in the middle of a crisis? And, I took the interview and I just said what I have to say. They try to throw some curveballs on me about, my citizenship status and all these things. How do you feel they should be enforcing the law and all these things? And I'm like, well, we all should be enforcing the law, but how we enforce it really matters. And when you're criminalizing not only Latinos, but volunteers and U.S. citizens and residents and things like that, that's a complete gross violation of everyone's constitutional rights, regardless of your immigration status. And also, when they asked about my citizenship, I came to this country legally. I overstayed, became undocumented. However, I went through all the legal channels. And for a Republican Party who keeps touting that people should do it the right way, well, I'm one of the rare cases of doing it the right way, even though there's no right way, really.
Right.
And so, why not? And let me tell you, the hate I got. I went viral on Truth Social. I went viral on X and Twitter. One of the posts got over 6,000 reposts and over 10,000 likes, and people calling me an illegal. There was even a picture of my primary opponent and myself, and a picture of her saying she's a U.S. citizen, and JD Arias. First of all, that's not my last name. It's Mazuera Arias.
That's right.
JD Arias, illegal, took her seat or whatnot, and called for deportations. People found my personal number. I received text messages. It was difficult. But I honestly think now that I had covered my bases, right, of being on the ground, being present, communicate on my social media, talking to the local outlets, then I also wanted to be responsible in my communication, right? If I didn't know what was happening locally, if I didn't have a grasp on that, if I wasn't talking to those people first, there's no way I felt prepared to go to national on it. So I wanted to make sure I had a grasp on that first and make sure that my people were good before I started to inform the broader country.
Yeah, especially it was a whirlwind of a week too. So like, and thank you for everything that you did, and I think being a leader in that moment was important to the people in the community, especially the ones who felt the fear, the palpable fear. So I think it's important. I think you being able to speak to kind of what it was like what was going on here, and not get caught up in these gotcha moments and these they try to create a viral clip out of you, but it's a shame that like by you just going on there. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think what it is also too is just kind of like it's the pontification of people's lives, and I think when because even that gotcha question, right? Because I've seen this happen for various minority groups where there's like, well, tell me how this and police and law enforcement, blah. It's like, if you take it to the logical conclusion, it doesn't matter if I'm Black, if I'm Latino, if I am differently able, if I'm LGBTQ. Like, if I'm standing for an equality of human rights, and what the system is doing is in breach of the social contract, it doesn't matter what you're trying to get me on, because that is pitting person versus system versus the vulnerable. And that's what you stand for. And I think one thing, just listening to you is just so amazing, hearing you back on the show again, and just hearing all the trials and tribulations you've been through since you were first on the show. But one thing, as I'm listening, I'm tying together is what is your secret sauce. And I'm not going to give it away for folks who want to try to come at your neck, because only you can do this, brother. But it is your communication, right? It is your ability to come from a ground level, like, hey, this was going on. I remember that very first night, that first video, I shared it. It impacted me. I'm down here in Waxhaw, Union County, and I'm sharing it, right? And every video you posted, it's almost like the algorithm knew, like, oh, JD posted something, Payron, repost it. I'm like reposting it, sharing with people, like, this is what we need to do. But that's how you build community. That's how you say, hey, this person is valid. So then to take that part, the communication, right? Just like it's very similar to your campaign. I think this is the secret sauce to your campaign as well. But once you were valid with your communication, then that's who the people listen to, right? And then just to go into those kids on the street to be like, all right, Councilman-elect JD, we voted for you. It's like, yeah, we are listening to you. We are in community together. And this push and pull is exactly how we push the country or our city or our town or our municipality forward, because we have that relationship, right? Like, I'm not going to talk to you with some rarefied air. You're not going to talk down to me with condescension. We're going to meet each other on the battlefield of humanity, fighting for one another. And sometimes it's going to be sharp elbows. Sometimes it's going to be a liver punch. Sometimes it's going to be hey, you didn't say it the right way. But as long as we take that with a grain of humility, as you just did, but then also understanding that, like, there is a broader fight. There is a broader fight that we have to show up for tomorrow and the next day and the very next day. Go ahead.
This is bigger than anyone, right? This is we are at a crossroads, not only as a city, but as a country, as a state.
Come on.
Where we are being defied for our positioning on basic human decency. That is a dangerous spot to be in.
That's right.
Is that we are, us progressives, us folks who are values forward, who are bold and rooted in racial and disability and justice, right? Like gender justice, like we are being vilified for considering the person next to me, my neighbor, just as human as the person to the right of me.
That's right.
And that is a dangerous spot to be in. And if we as a city don't take that seriously, if we don't put a pep in our step and start speaking out for people, then what are we doing? Then why do we have a elected body if it's not people? And that, to me, and I think it's a awakening for a lot of my colleagues across all government, whether it's at the national level or local level, is that when I speak to them, I do not care about who is what the politics behind electing a symbolic position like mayor pro tem, right? Fine, we can make it political if you want, but what I'm concerned about is the livelihoods and ensuring that people have the rights to live a dignified, fair life in our city. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And we need to start taking a more bold approach. We need leaders like myself, like Representative Lopez, who are defying what it means to be, one, a Democrat, okay? Two, elected officials. I'm no one special. I'm no one special. Nor, yes, does my title give me the privilege to have a more amplified voice? Sure. More amplified platform? Sure. Whatnot. But at the end of the day, when I was outside of Central Avenue protesting with those kids, I was protesting for my people.
Right.
It did not.
That's right.
I did not think twice about the optics. I did not think twice about, is this an opportunity in a crisis? No.
Come on.
I have the privilege and the absolute honor to do this, which a lot of people did not. Okay. Their dads, their abuelas, their uncles, their cousins who were scared and fearful, locked up in their homes, did not have that privilege. And so for me, what is better than actually having elected officials who were chosen by the people, standing with the people side by side in a time where they needed the most? And again, a lot of these folks either are smart enough to know what we do and do not do, or do not care. They just see an elected official and they just need to know that they're there standing with them. Listen, I was proud of pushing our current council in a committee hearing led by Councilmember Dimple Ishmael to provide short-term emergency funding of $100,000 to organizations on the ground that were supporting immigrant families to cover rent and utilities. I don't think we've done that ever. That, and I might be misquoted and I might miss some historical context or whatnot, but as far as I know, for a reaction to her city to have that, that's incredible, because then it goes to what I used to say, what I said in my first time being here. Politicians love to give the answer what we can't do, but what can we do?
That's right.
Right.
What can we do with our limited powers to alleviate a little bit? And listen, $100,000 is nothing, but it's $100,000 that will help one family or multiple families be able to pay December rent and not take money out of their pocket to not be able to give their kids a good Christmas. Right? That, for me, is what it's all about, is that incremental radical change. And it's radicalism rooted not in progressivism or in politics, but radicalism rooted in love for one another.
That's right.
That is the greatest demonstration at the government level of love that we can give, is to really push ourselves to do things that we're not expected to do, or that we don't have the political courage to do.
Right. And I think too, to even another analogy of it all is when you said like you're just one guy, right? Like which is true, right? You're just one person. But like when you were on that street, you as a singular person, your voice is drowned out by the many. in a positive way, right? Like that is the chorus of the mob in a positive way, right? Being dictated by the mob, right? Is like that is democracy in action. These are people they said, listen, I could be at home. I can be, playing video games. I could be, doing whatever, but I'm here making my presence known on this night, etched in stone forever. It cannot be taken away from me that I stood up for my humanity and the shared humanity of my fellow people of my city. And that is something that I think is just to Ram's point earlier, where we didn't see that, right? And honestly, I don't see that across the country. I don't see many elected officials or position elect roles, people showing up. I mean, maybe you might get a photo op every once in a while with a nonprofit or some sort of org, but the way you were moving was different, and that to me, I was like, I mean, I patted the Radical Roots on the back for a little bit. I said, you know what, we had him on, before he was all, in naming and glitz and nights and MS Now and CNN, Breonna Taylor. I don't know who you talked to, but it was just so like, man, this is a solid guy, and I feel like we made really good choices on the show when we're selective of who we bring on, because we want to learn as well, right? Because it's not just us saying, well, here's some politician talk for for an hour, but like, okay, are we pushing each other? And one thing that I remember from your first time to now, and it sounds like you, I'm not gonna say you've evolved from it, because I know that's always who you were, but I know you were kind of in campaign mode when you first came on, but you were like, and I know what you meant. So I'm not. So let me just give that disclaimer. I know exactly what you meant. But you were like, yeah, I'm not here to represent the Latino groups of people, right? I'm here to represent all the district, all the area. Operation Charlotte's Web exposed why it's very important to have representation. It exposed why it's important to say my lived experience backs up and validates all the passion, all the heat, all the knowledge, all the love, and all the empathy I have for my my brethren. And that's okay, because in the reality, as you said earlier, we're getting demonized to be progressive. It's because this settler colonial project it's always been right wing. It's always been a right wing project, right? Like, so like when you want to progress it from there, this is why you'll get someone like a Joe Scarborough on MS Now who will say that any progressive is radical, because he wants to maintain a certain status quo that doesn't include a JD, that doesn't include a Ron, that doesn't include the story of Peyron or Araminta Ross, affectionately also named Harriet Tubman, right? Like these are stories that they want to have one narrative. So when you step up and when you're like, hey, not only am I in leadership, and not only do I have the temerity and the testicular fortitude to go toe to toe with a North Carolina native like Greg Bovino, who wants to come here and terrorize his own state for some fascistic, authoritarian need, I will let you know I'm here for you. And that fills a void that I think, to your point, JD, is missing across the country. Is that I just don't see leaders doing that. It's all, and when we get to a point where human lives or human rights can become philosophical debates, that is very dangerous, because that means someone can win, someone can lose. Right, certain people can be thrown under the bus, or trans people, they're not really people. Well, those Latinos, they're illegals because they broke the law. Well, that means Donald Trump's an illegal because he broke the law. He's an illegal. Why don't you go arrest that illegal? If we start playing with these philosophical games, we can get deep with it. But one thing, I forget, he's a philosopher, but he says that fascism's feelings. Brad Onishi, he's a theological professor. He was at Oxford, but he says fascism's feelings. And to your point, you're talking about this whole experience and just how certain elected officials or leadership, or whether it be some of these institutions, is being governed, sadly, by feelings, not based on the reality of crime, not based on the reality of who's taking what from what, or what is considered to be outside of jurisprudential law, but basically being like, hey, I feel like when I see someone driving down the street and they're playing reggaeton, like there's a problem. When I heard Bad Bunny got selected to be in the Super Bowl halftime show, that attacks my identity. Therefore, brutalize those people, because this is still a philosophical debate. You cut through that with each video, and I just want to thank you for that, because that is just something that I didn't see anywhere else. And the fact that someone that I knew did that was really, really, really resonated with me. And my last question for you before I let you go. Recently, Trump and Christy Nome and the Department of Homeland Security or whatever was it DHS, which was is it DHS, right? That's what she runs.
DHS.
They've been on this Nazi thing, this remigration. They're trying to pad it like, well, it's a new term. It is not. The literal Nazis used it. You know, that's not me saying that. That's what the Nazis said, and that's what you're saying. I don't say things Nazis say. If not Nazi, why Nazi shaped? Why? What is your thoughts on this kind of softening of the Nazi-like rhetoric that is meant to, you know, I think, dare I say, get the outcomes that the Nazis had, like remigration, like self-deportation?
That is a question I could be on 5 episodes. Well, I mean, on it. Listen, I'll start off with some dark humor. If they're going to talk about,
please do.
If they're going to talk about these Nazi talking points, which, to be honest, should be frankly archaic. But you know, it's the reality we live in. Then all of us, including Donald Trump and you know,
Stephen Miller,
and Christie and all these folks. All right, we all need to go back then. I mean, if that really is the thought, then that includes them as well, because this land was founded.
That's right.
On the slaughter of indigenous folks. And here's the thing: I've been also reading a little bit more. I don't even like using indigenous because that's a colonial. It
is. That's right. That's their term.
Colonial term. And if I could, if I could honor them well and know all the tribes and whatnot, I would say that instead. Sure. But for lack of a better phrase, the slaughter of indigenous folks, the enslavement and torture of African folks, right? And the villainization, and honestly, there's been history of doctors performing to women so they won't have kids anymore. What's that term?
Sterilization, like in
sterilization to Black and brown women, okay? To farm workers, Latina farm workers, Black women who were enslaved, all these things, right?
That's right.
If that is the case, then they should be included in the remigration. Okay, so that is my kind of dark humor perspective on that. On a serious note, it is a byproduct of standing for human rights and how it's being vilified, right? It is that, and also it is the normalization that the media has created. It is the normalization of folks allowing these folks to integrate our academic institutions, like folks like Charlie Kirk being on college campuses and spewing hate speech.
Just a debate. Just want to debate. Just want to debate. That's all I want. Just a debate.
Right. A debate calling for the killing of transgender people and saying that every folks need to be killed by gun violence to uphold Second Amendment rights. What's that term? Stockholm syndrome. It's like we are constantly living in a state of everybody having Stockholm syndrome. Like there, and you put it so beautifully just now, is when we get into these philosophical debates, there's then a right and a wrong, right? And that's this normalization of Nazi talking points of, and to be quite frank, honestly, and I'm sorry I'm going kind of off kilter here, but like this is not new to Black and brown communities. It is just louder. Okay, so honestly, I would even argue with myself. I would take back what I said. The normalization of racism, of Nazism, of all the isms has always been there, but it's being uplifted because there's an amplified voice in the Oval Office that is carrying this message. It has always been there. The lynching of Black men and women continues to happen in our country.
That's right.
The criminalization and sterilization of brown women continues to happen in our country. The mistreatment of Black moms going through pregnancies in our hospital institutions continues to happen in our country. And it's so infuriating to me when I have colleagues say, this is the worst it's ever been. No. This is bad. I'm not going to. This is
no question.
bad.
Right.
It has been worse, and we will continue to fight.
That's
right. And we'll continue doing that. And I think I don't have an answer to your question, quite frankly.
That's okay. That's all right.
Other than it's always been there. It will continue to be normalized. And it is on all of us to keep combating the normalization of it. And now at a more grotesque level, truly, where we have a national speaking bobblehead, orange, tomato, whatever, became making it more mainstream, but it's always been mainstream. It just has given people the authority to say it out loud, to make it more prevalent in our lives and whatnot. And ultimately, all I have to say is we gotta get a spine as Democrats, as progressives, and hold our ground. Because when people say, well, what about blah, blah, blah? Like, what about somebody that committed a crime and whatnot? And we gotta combat it with, you are gaslighting us. You are steering away from the conversation. You are not making any sense. You say you want legal immigrants. No, you just don't want brown immigrants. You just don't want Black immigrants. Okay? We gotta call it out for what it is. I am so tired. Listen, I had a conversation with a very important elected official during this crisis. And I said, quite frankly, to this person, we are allowing Republicans to do and undo with our laws. They are breaking laws to attack our people. When are we going to start doing that to protect our people?
That's right. Where's our Project 2028 or 2029? Where's our talking point? Right? Like where are we at? And to your point, I mean, very similar to what you're saying, like we have to have a backbone. People have to be able to stand up to this. A quote when I was the Democratic Party chair here in Union County, I used to say all the time when I was going to precarious areas for me, not into the Black and brown areas, when I was going to the more western side of the county, I would say, this is Zora Neale Hurston quote: if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Which is exactly why what you just said, JD, of like, we absolutely cannot allow them to. Well, if the anchor says it, and then the field reporter says it, and then the correspondent says it, then the advertiser says it, and then someone else. Like, no, I'm going to stand for my own humanity. And if you're going to talk to me in my face that I need to be small and I need to talk about, and I'm going to get finger wagging people who don't even know their own history to tell me why that people that look like me are inherently violent, are inherently bad, are inherently a negative and subtraction from the country. You must stand on the idea that you're a racist, and we're at that point. And that's not me calling you a racist. In fact, when I tell people that, when like Republicans or these right-wing MAGA people, they're like, well, you're calling me a racist and I'm calling you the N-word. I'm like, no, me calling you a racist is not a slur. That is me labeling you so other people within my community can know, okay, this person here is a racist. Watch out for that. It is. I don't care if it offends you. I don't care if it offends. I'm trying to warn other vulnerable people that this person here is a sexist, a transphobe, a homophobe, a misogynist, a racist, whatever. And we got to stand in it. Because if you feel so big and bold to say, insert whatever slur here, I'm going to be bold enough to say, well, that's who you are.
And not be distracted. Right. Because they let me tell you something I will always applaud this fascist Republican Party is that they are so good at staying on message.
Oh, it's easy. When you're homogenous, it's easy.
And the Democrats and progressives, listen, sometimes, my mom always said, you wear your heart on your sleeves, sometimes to a fault, right? Sometimes we care so much about, making sure that all of our talking points are in order to a fault. No, if they are going to make a conversation about sexuality into one about transgenders, no. Two different things. We're not talking about transgender, right? Not giving them the time of day to distract. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is so masterful in doing, is they blow up 20 million things in one day just so the bigger story isn't talked about, right? And that's what they do with arguments as well. In the public square, people are having arguments all the time, and they bring up X, Y, and Z, and then you're trying to find all these talking. No, focus on our message. You are actually arguing against people's rights to live, point blank, period. And that makes you a bad person.
No question.
Yeah, I think real quick, I think we saw that with Mamdani's campaign in terms of like staying on message and not being distracted. I mean, it's very masterful. And I think you share some similarities in style of like, not being distracted.
I call you Charlotte's Mamdani. That's what I call you.
But as like, even, as we have conversations as, regular folks, I think it's to not be sucked into that, even on comment boards and things of like, what is this stuff really? How does this affect you? Like, what do you actually gain? What do you actually benefit? And like, it's silly, but
wait,
well,
I'm so sorry.
They use the culture wars to distract from the class war.
Yep.
Sorry.
Exactly. The class war. I keep telling folks, I did not win my election because I presented myself as the first Latino, the first formerly undocumented, whatnot. Of course, if I would be in a room full of immigrants, I would tell them the significance of my election. If I was in a room full of Latinos, of course, we all would do that, right? But I focused on the issues that divided us as class, right? Charlotte is a corporate welfare city. Okay. We love giving benefits to corporations, but none to our people. So what are we doing? Two things real quick. The New York Times wrote an article about that crazy guy. I don't even know what his name is. He's called for the raping woman and all these things. And he's a young guy. The New York Times, no, he's like the next up and coming Charlie Kirk. I forget
Nick Fuentes.
Yes, Nick Fuentes. Okay. So literally this is putting into practice. The New York Times literally quoted his claims as pro what? Oh, are you guys there?
You're still here. You're good.
Sorry. I don't know what happened to my computer. Okay. As pro-white aims. Pro-white. That literally minimizes white supremacy.
It does, right?
And that is an insane choice of words to me. Like,
that was the New York Times?
The New York Times. You are now claiming that this person's radical white supremacist racist ideology is now pro-white. There is no pro-white. What are you talking about?
Debate. It's a philosophical debate now. That's what it does. I mean, but that's the same New York Times that was still calling the Tulsa race massacre a race riot until 2021. So we have to understand the media has always been an arm of a white supremacist institution. You need that to spin and get propaganda. But I know you have one more point, but we're gonna let you go. But you got another point, JD? You said you had two things.
The other point is, the whole Mamdani thing and the thing. We're living in a different type of politics now.
That's right.
One that we are speaking with honesty.
Come on.
And that's the thing. I'll share this very clearly. I've been getting calls about, from my colleagues on council about like who are you going to vote for, Mayor Pro Tem? What are you going to do? All this thing, whatnot. I've told them, and people have been like, "Wait, you're." Like, I've taken people aback from being honest about my intentions. And that is what we need to do. It's the messaging. It's
the principles. It's the principles too, though.
Communication is everything. When we all come together, the Mamdanis of New York City, the JDs and Jordans of North Carolina, all these things, whatever, all these this movement that's happening right now, and we all are recognizing it. There's a movement of little Mamdanis happening across the country. It is
Sharia law.
It is a politics of honesty, of integrity, and of not just standing with the people, but walking with them.
Come on.
Walk, like literally going to them. I cannot go anywhere in East Charlotte without being recognized. A blessing and a curse.
I mean, that does seem a little bit, I don't know if I like
But that, though, is who our elected officials should be.
Because who you're there for. You're there for the people. The people need to know who you are.
Among the people.
That's right.
And not just standing with them, but walking side by side with them during moments of crisis and during moments of joy, of radical joy, of resistance joy. And sorry, so that you brought Mamdani. Anyways, I can talk.
One thing when I was the chair, I would say is that when I was trying to bring interracial, intercultural groups together, I say solidarity is when you stand together in sorrow, when you stand together in celebration, and when you stand together when things are, just not the best. It's like it's all things. It's not just when things are good. It's like, it's not just I put the sign up, I wear the Black Lives Matter shirt. Then no, it's when things are bad. Who are you? It exposes you, and that's what we want from our leadership. So, Ron,
and stop exploiting our cultures, like the fruits of our cultures. Like, how many folks that go to Mexican restaurants?
Come on,
you know this. How many folks? How many white folks listen to rap music and say the N-word and things like that?
Hard R with the hard R.
Like, come on now. Like, stop enjoying our cultures while also voting for the erasure of our existence.
Yeah. America's going through a identity crisis. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's when we all come together, then that's what they're afraid of the most. And I'll just leave it at, I thought it was a beautiful thing when you were out there on Central, when everyone was out there on Central, and you see the American flags, the Mexican flags, the Venezuelan flags, the Honduran flags, the Colombian flags, all of them. So it's just all these marginalized groups, as we start to come together, you saw the coalition that Mamdani built. We see this diversity in Charlotte. I think we're onto something. And going into this conversation and a lot of, week after week, I feel very, what I hate the most is hypocrisy, and there's just so much hypocrisy right now. But conversations like this and listening, and when we have people on the podcast and listening to people and leaders like you who are on the front lines in these local leadership positions, whether it's the school board, whether it's the city council, whether it's the mayors, all of these things, Supreme Court justices, it really refills my cup, because I know that there's these leaders that are up and coming and creating new leaders, creating these, giving these young folks something, people to look up to, and understanding how they can organize, how they can make their voices heard, and getting involved in this political space. And it's, and I hope that the people listening, whether it's on our show or on national news, is that you can be an inspirational force to them, that it's contagious, because we need more of you. And
I could say for sure, JD, you are an inspiration, and that's what it takes. It takes one person being out there when you're like, I'm not even sworn in yet, but I'm gonna do the damn thing, because that's when it matters. So we just thank you, brother.
I appreciate that. I'll leave you guys with a fun personal anecdote. So the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is famously known as Blackout Wednesday, right? So like everybody comes into town and whatnot. I didn't black out. But I did go out with my friends.
Of course, sure. Whatever you want to tell us, man. Whatever.
and I, had a good time. And I'm literally sitting there in this group, right? Wait for it. Of young Latino men, like 6, 7 of them, came up to me and you said, "You are right." Wow, that was crazy.
You did it.
Came up to me wanting to take pictures, wanting to learn more about politics, saying I am their city council member, saying that they grew up in the East Side. A lot of them 22, 23 years old, who voted for the first time in an election ever. Listen to that. They're 22, 23 years old and voted for the first time. They've been eligible to vote
for 5 years, right?
For 5 years, and said, we voted for you. And that's the thing, right? Like I was these young people, and the Saturday, the week after the operation happened, that Saturday, a group of young Latino Eastsiders got together and did a food drive. And I grew up
organically,
and they raised $10,000 and delivered over to 100 families, and then gave, with the leftover money. Look, they're so smart. They paid for the gas of the volunteers who were driving. They gave $1,000 to Our Bridge for Kids, to Carolina Migrant Network, to some other organizations, the leftovers and whatnot. They bought gift cards to give out to random families, and it was just beautiful. Anyways, all I say is, when the Democrats talk about, well, why can't we reach young Black and brown men, and why can't we get them engaged and whatnot? Well, Reba Hamilton, I love her. Sorry, I just saw her comment pop up. Reba is that she's a District 5 resident, and her video of confronting CBP in her front yard when some workers were putting up lights. That is her, and she's a proud District 5.
She had that thing on her. That's all I know. And
that's right. Like, get the hell out of my lawn.
Shout out to Reba. Okay.
But anyways, all I say is there's something beautiful happening, and it is intersecting all of the races, ethnicities, cultures, religions. It is young Black and brown men. It is Muslim. It is Christian. It is Buddhist. It is everything, and it is really.
It's the future. Beautiful. It's the future, man, and that's what it is. Well, JD, thank you again for coming on, brother. We got to have you on again. Now we're gonna check in. Now we're gonna hold you talk in 6 months. We're gonna be like, okay, how's it going? Where you at? Oh, they pay around. They're about to run me out on the rail.
Okay, take a picture, take a screenshot of my hair.
See where the grays start coming in.
Right. You look more distinguished at that point. You look like Rom over here. You look like a college professor. But thank you again, brother. We wish you nothing but the best. Good luck tomorrow at your swearing in. Is it going to be streaming? And how can people find you, support you?
Yeah, so tomorrow's swearing in ceremony starts at 6 p.m. It will be live streamed on the CLT GOV YouTube channel, that's Charlotte Gov. You can follow me on my social media, Instagram, JD, the number 4, CLT. That's the same on Threads and the same on Facebook. I will try to limit my usage on X because I do not want to give any more energy to far right wing.
We don't need that. We're good. Media. JD, thank you again, brother, and we wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good one. All right, folks. That was JD Mazuera Arias, who is he will be the city council person in Charlotte District 5, correct? That's the correct district?
Yes. Yep. Tomorrow.
I want to make sure I'm getting it right. That was great. What do you think about that conversation? What do you think?
Great conversation. Like I said, I mean, having these people on, these guests, they're great leaders. It inspires me.
Yeah,
it refills my cup when
you feel
drained. Especially
Hakeem,
because we're going to get into it. Yeah, we're going to get into a little bit of what's happening.
It's like, just be like this guy, be like him.
Yeah, we need more of that. More of that energy, right? I think a lot of people who are in this political space, people who are paying attention, I think a lot of people feel drained. I think, leaning on each other, having that, the community conversations, knowing that people are doing, knowing people that are waking up, knowing people that are, getting involved for the first time, knowing that people are, doing a food drive and just doing, and I think it's because a lot of people who are involved, there's a lot of people that I see everywhere. They do everything. They try to do a little bit of everything, and it's like that's not sustainable, especially in this in this current time we're going through. So it really does take the community to rise to the occasion, and he's inspiring. So
yeah, I thought it was a fantastic conversation. Just his ability to, I mean, again, seeing like well polished, even though he's not even like well polished yet, but he's already a polished politician. If you get, I mean, like there was no like when he speaks, it's like you listen. You hinge on each sentence, you hinge on each word, and each thing is packed with resonance and the ability just to connect with people on a human level. And he's not giving you the word salad that we always go on about. That like, we're not political vegetarians.
Yeah.
We don't need word salad, right? Like, just talk to me like a human being. Talk to me like I am a constituent to care about.
Transparent. He said he ran on transparency, honesty. That goes a long way, right? Yeah. And so, so yeah, there's been a lot going on this week.
A lot going on, man.
Dive through these real quick.
Yeah, what you got?
So the economic blackout started on the 25th.
Yeah,
and I think that was a Tuesday.
Tuesday to Tuesday. 1 week.
I don't know how it went for you, but
I was up at Target. Monday, I got that swag bag. I don't know.
I said that swag bag that they had.
You got a picture of that for the folks who don't know?
I said you could take a walk from my pantry to my guest bathroom and literally
get like 80% of that.
I literally had. I'm telling you, like in the guest bathroom, I literally have samples of people like if they need like some lotions or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I can throw some shit in the bag too. You want some shit in the bag? We got shit in the bag for you.
So we haven't been to Target since January.
Same.
Went in February to return something, and and definitely. So Home Depot. I haven't been to Home Depot in years.
A long time.
I try to say like I'm trying to avoid it. I go there to the kids go there to build their things sometimes. The free thing they got on Saturdays. I haven't been there, and I think
that's free labor, brother. That's free labor from your black children.
We canceled Prime. We were doing some sharing for a while, but now it's just we don't even we don't order on Amazon Prime. Right. Occasionally we do. This week we didn't, of course. And Monday I was like, okay, let me get the groceries, stock up, and that kind of thing. And I know so the groceries are the things where and I think Tuesday was a little bit harder. Tuesday, it was like I had to consciously remind myself, like, don't do this. I had to get gas Tuesday. So I didn't get that on Monday. But I think it's about building the muscle.
That's
this
right.
1 week, and if you never did it before, maybe it was just Black Friday you didn't go out. If you were doing some things before, it's 1 week. Maybe soon it's going to be, and it's really, I think, to me, it's about changing just your habits.
Right, it's the 7 day habit building. Right.
Yeah, and I spent $10. I intentionally used cash. I had to buy some carrots. I had to buy some carrots and a couple things at the grocery store. And why'd you
grow those carrots, brother? Why'd you grow those carrots, brother?
That was it. I did buy. I bought a movie ticket on Monday to go on to the Wednesday to go. What was the kids movie that came out? I want to say not Bad Guys 2, but what's the
Bad Guys 2
just came out? Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2. So went Thursday morning. Yeah, it was good. The girls enjoyed it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that the goal isn't to just everyone's going to stop shopping, but people need to. I think they said it's like 5% impact across the board, and I think it will continue to be felt. We see what's happening to Target. Target had people out there looking like fools, waiting for hours for a swag bag.
Pull that picture up of that swag bag real quick. But yes, you're right, Rob. The blackout from Tuesday to Tuesday, I think it is to the theory that to build a habit, it requires you to do something for 7 times. 7 times, 7 days is a good corollary. I think that's probably the meaning behind it. Now, folks like myself and yourself, we ain't been to places like Target, and I have no plans on going back to Target. I didn't go to Home Depot, like you said. And yes, a boycott is good, but what is even better is directing your dollars towards places and people that will ultimately support you in your community, right? Like that's the biggest lift, right? Like I get it. If you are in a town listening to us and you're in, Podunk somewhere, Oklahoma, and all there is a Walmart. We know Walmart is anti-union. We know that they're subsidized by the government, our tax dollars, to make sure they keep their people afloat with Medicare and SNAP and all these things. I get it. I'm not saying don't shop and don't survive, but don't go purchase, some sort of technology that is one of the people that are buying Trump's ballroom. Don't go don't go watch a team with one of these sports owners that are in Trump's pocket. There are more things than just, the basic consumer item shopping that we're talking about. And one of the biggest companies that got hit right now, this feeling it, is Target. And if you guys didn't hear about this, and Ron's putting up on the screen, Target was offering people these swag bags. And in fact, they had tickets. They were like, they put them out before they said, hey, we got tickets for y'all. We only got 100 because we don't want people kind of rushing the front door. So please make sure you get a ticket, get in line. And these swag bags, let's play this video of what this lady's saying here.
Yeah, it's going to.
She might have been away. Oh, there's a ticket.
Got the ticket. Let's see what's in here. Okay, there's a pack of Uno cards, a variety pack of electrolyte drink mix, some Elf lip oil, Gems shampoo, pack of Nerds juices. Honestly, the coolest thing about this swag bag is the bag. 10 of the bags did have a coupon for a bigger ticket item, and someone like 4 or 5 behind me got one of those, but I didn't get anything.
Yeah, so
it's embarrassing on something.
I promise you, I can create that bag in like a minute. Right
I think I got that bag somehow.
It's like the bag. Anyways, and the other thing is to the goal was to support small businesses. I mean, I've been trying to do that for really forever, but even more so consciously in the past year. I did make my way to what's it called? Chamos, Venezuelan restaurant, Chamos Grill. On Tuesday as well. And so, I think I didn't do a lot of shopping. I really don't plan to do a lot of shopping this year. Kind of keep it simple. Christmas is in some ways canceled as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, my girls understand that. So that was this week. So there was, now getting to some big news. So download Goods Unite Us. You can look up the brands and businesses to find out who they donate to, how their donations are allocated. If they
that's good to know. Yeah, and on Small Business Saturday, which was yesterday, my wife had her first pop-up for her company, Baxter Beads, and do a little shout out. It's a bracelet company, and it was at a very similar to like an open, not an open market, but like Optimus Hall. If you guys are in Charlotte, you understand what Optimus Hall is up in Concord. And she sold a good amount of beads, a good amount of bracelets, and from folks that she didn't know, and she put on her sales hat. So she had her very first pop-up event on Small Business Saturday. So I said, hey, that's going to be a core memory for you right there in the whole brain tube. So if you guys would like to frequent a small business, my wife's company, Baxter's Beads, is a bracelet company. I just had to throw that in there. But go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, no, very cool. So there was a lot of. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff. We're going to try to go through the big news here. Obviously, there was the National Guard who was. There was 2 National Guards who were shot. One, unfortunately, was killed. This was on Wednesday, and it's very unfortunate. That this happens and these things continue to happen, especially like this gun violence. And I think the part that bothers me the most is how minutes after these shootings, you have Hegseth coming out, Trump coming out. We're adding 500 more National Guards. It's this and that. It's the Democrats. It's a Democrat that did it. It's the radical left that's saying these things and causing this violence. And then you find out it's a Afghan national who, and then next thing it's all immigrants. Immigrants have to go. We're going to stop immigration. We're going to remove all these people. We're going to remigrate. They start using that phrasing again. They start amplifying it. And the most exhausting thing about all of these things is it's always when it's a non-straight white male that does the shooting. It's over-encompassing everybody. Got a group. Oh, this person had a transfer. Oh, it was trans people that did it. Oh, this person was black. Oh, it's black people. Oh, this person was Muslim. We got to do a Muslim ban. Oh, this person's gay. Now the gays are shooting people. So, but you never hear Oh man,
Lone wolf. It's a lone wolf. It's a white
lone wolf. It's mental health, and I say often, if somebody's shooting somebody and premeditated, it's a mental health issue, right? But you never, and we're gonna get into that with this one. But like, the person, the man who shot the people on the pier, who was a Marine veteran, the person who ran their truck through New Orleans, I believe is an Army veteran.
the guy that they ran his truck into that church.
Ran the truck.
Was I think it's Army, that guy, so yeah, I mean it continues on. And this guy was CIA and was a part of Unit Zero, which basically articulated assassinations and murders of his own people, basically allowing America to help occupy his own territory. So if anything, the PTSD of being a traitor to your own people could maybe radicalize you when you're fleeing your own country from, I mean, of course, another radicalized group of religious zealots, which would be Al Qaeda, who would take control. It may want to kill you. Like, that's what we want to talk about, is the connection of people that have been through the military, that have been radicalized. Timothy McVeigh is another one.
There are so many layers to this instance alone. It's hard to even like keep track, but this person wasn't vetted, or this person came in through Biden, and they say like, oh well, he was approved for asylum during the Trump administration, and then you come to find out, well, he worked with the CIA. What did you call the
Unit Zero?
Unit Zero. These people who were actually doing some of the most
violent shit.
Yeah, like these were like the black ops type
to destabilize their own people.
The ones that were actually assassinating, murdering, is what it sounds
Afghani
like.
people.
And then, so this person has been vetted by, the DHS. This person's been vetted more than probably most people who are, in some sort of process with their status. This person was like vetted to more than anyone. And it's like, well, what do you vet for in these situations? Because you talk about being radicalized. I mean, there was a number of things they could radicalize. He worked with the United States military. He worked with the CIA. He some people or he picked a side against the people who were in power in his country. He had family. He put his family at risk, and then to come over here and then be forgotten about, like many military members.
They warned about this.
There's somewhere over maybe 30,000 military men and women who have committed suicide or unalived themselves since 2001. And how many people died in on the September 11th attacks? About under 3,000.
I get 2,500.
Yeah. So think about that number. And this is essentially discard and forget about these folks.
Well, I mean, and it's sad, and this is why Martin Luther King warned about the three evils of the world: militarism, materialism, and racism. Specifically, because at the end of the day, in all these, and I hate that the Republican Party, these fuckers have always tried to, heap praise on the military in the most disingenuous way. But these are the same people that will send your children into war because they absolutely want to, fund the industrial war machine, and that's a bipartisan thing. So I'm not going to say that, but I know those who embrace the flag. I mean, Trump, when his first term, was like fucking humping the flag. Remember that when he was like all the bunch there's a certain like you're like, bro, we got it. Like, sometimes like you ever been out with a friend and there's like some girls around and like he's trying to get a little too fly and he's trying to be too funny. You gotta be like, bro, you gotta chill out. Like, that was Trump on the flag, and that's the Republican Party with the military. It's like, y'all need to chill. Like, we get it. Like, both sides will support the empire, and the empire during 20 something years ago needed fresh blood after the end of the Cold War. It needs to make its money, and therefore you get the war on terror. There's President Camacho from
Idiocracy.
So you got to go to war. Very similar now is that the empire deserves another blood sacrifice, and it's going to be Venezuela, or at least they're gesturing towards it, because a country that is led by a bunch of insecure patriarchal men who have not done the work on themselves, have not reflected, and then a country whose basically status quo is that to not reflect in the history, in the textbooks, in the civic education, and it's how it supports its people, and its and its investments, but it does support the care. This is why you hear Republicans say shit like, they're laughing at us. That's something an insecure man would say about other men, right? If you're a patriarchal man like Pete Hegseth absolutely cares about what other men think about him. But a secure man doesn't give a shit what other man thinks about him. And these are people we have running institutions. These are men who, instead of saying, hey, America needs to handle its own shit. We need to fix the crimes of being on, as JD said, on stolen land. We need to fix our crime of slavery. We need to fix this crime of racism and sexism. And we need to fix this stuff. We need to invest. We shouldn't have 22 soldiers kill themselves every day. We shouldn't have people on the street with 600,000 people on the streets, but 16 million open homes. But no, when you only care about what other strong men, insecure men-led countries think, you are going to invest in a violent system that will beat the wife, us, the people. We're the wife in that situation, the people who are vulnerable, who cannot leave, who cannot flee. And some of us who are even worse off, who don't have a podcast, can do less than that. They can only invest in keeping your sons and daughters poor and sick, so they had to be drafted into that same machine to then make money for the modern day Halliburtons, Raytheons, Northrop Grummans, and so on and so forth. So we have to understand that empire is requiring a blood sacrifice right now. And it doesn't matter if it wouldn't have been Trump or not. They were trying to do this shit. Joe Biden invited, what's his name, Guaido, to a State of the Union, who they were trying to overthrow the Venezuelan leadership with him. So, like, this is a bipartisan thing of the empire. We need to understand it.
Yeah, it's history repeating itself. It's just like these, like, we've gone through it, like, what, 3-4 times in our lifetime.
And it seems like, sad now. It's like the same thing, dude, the same old story.
And I think when you look at years ago, when there were before social media, when things were harder to, you couldn't see these things happening real time. I mean, now it's in front of us. I mean, right. you gotta be like stoned or stupid to like not see what's going on. And so, again, and I will say that the most consequential, like, if the National Guard wasn't, she was from the West Virginia, they were from the West Virginia National Guard. If they weren't in DC, these two, Sarah Beckstrom would not have lost her life. Other gentlemen would not have been shot. That is the most direct, consequential, thing that I can say here. And now I can't get into the mind of this man. I don't know what he would have done otherwise.
Sure,
man who's clearly has PTSD, clearly has mental issues. There's more news coming out,
and drove 1,000 miles as well.
Apparently he's gone on several of these cross-country trips and just leaves his family, just doesn't talk to them. And I think when you see 30,000 servicemen and women who have felt that they had to end their life, they're clearly going through. There is this effect, and people don't want to address. Yeah, they don't want to admit it. They don't want to address. They want to address why men are out here violently using guns all the time. I can assure you that almost every time it's always going to be a man. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that's constant. But everyone wants to wait and see. Oh, well, is this person, again, they're gay? Are they trans? Are they brown? Are they Latino? Are they whatever? And it's exhausting, man, because
very much so.
How many times have we seen white military members this year alone? I think it was at least 4 or 5 times. Honestly,
the answer is countless.
That's
the real answer.
I'm saying, like,
you can't count it. You don't even know.
Exactly. But here we are. It's fodder for them to say we're going to continue to do worse. Yeah, continue to, we're going to bring in 500 more. Bring in 500 more. National Guard, 500 more National Guard.
That's crazy.
Like, who are not trained to actually patrol the streets anyways. Go ahead.
Yes. What's crazy though, man, is that a federal judge has just deemed this was illegal.
Yes, and they weren't even supposed to be there, legally.
Right? So, but this is after he deployed them. But then a federal judge recently was like, "This is illegal." So like, on its face, it's illegal, and they should not be there. And to your point, what you just said, now it's like, "No, we need another 500. We need another 500." It's already illegal, and to the point where now there's National Guard in DC who have, hold on to your britches, folks, bodyguards, because they do not have the jurisdiction or whatever to actually stop, and they're not trained to stop crime. That's not what the National Guard, was it 2 weeks a year, 2 weekends a month or whatever, or 1 weekend a month. They're not trained to do any of this stuff, to become police officers. That's what quote unquote police officers are supposed to do. And so yeah, it's illegal. And when I think they asked her ex-boyfriend of the slain officer, does she feel like she want to do that? And he said, yeah, she want to make a difference. She's young, she want to make a difference. There's a level of like indoctrination you have to be in the military. So I'm not knocking that. She's like, yeah, I want to help. If there's a need, I want to help. But ultimately, she's like, I guess they were talking to each other while she was in DC. She's like, I'm not doing anything. Like, they're telling me to call the cops. This is like they're telling me to call the cops. Like, if something's happening, you call the police. Okay, why am I here?
Yeah, the amount of money being spent on, ICBP, National Guard to be in these areas, they're paying 50,000 signing, taken away from police. That money could, and I'm not saying this is the right answer, but money could be going straight to police departments to actually be hiring more
crime intervention programs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I would personally would love to see is actually reimagining policing, right? But but in theory, they could literally just take that money, hire more police officers with a more effective outcome, than just people patrolling and being. They don't solve crimes. I mean, their presence is supposed to, I guess,
put fear in the hearts of criminals, like Batman. But when all you have is a hammer, everything's a nail, right? When you have this kind of this big boy patriarchy mentality, everything has to be troops, police officers, guns, arrest them. Just like, well, crime has been going down in DC, crime has been going down in Chicago, crime has been going down in Charlotte. These are, as JD said, but what's the connection? Black-led cities with multiculturalism that are vibrant with culture, that are vibrant with ideas, that are not trying to wait for bumblefuck Arkansas or wait for toenail Alabama. Like, they're like, hey, we want to do these things, invest in people. We don't want to wait for Trump and Pete Hegseth to tell us how we need to protect ourselves. We can protect ourselves by doing what we know is tried and true, is making sure people's basic needs are met, mitigating the amount of time that they have to kind of think about getting into crime. That is the whole thing. And they're like, no, you need the troops and the guns and the tanks and the flags and the eagles, because we are being led by perpetual ninth graders.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is, in terms of this gentleman and these people that help the United States military when we invade other countries, I mean, we'll see what happens in Venezuela, but would you do what would you do it if you see how they treat you? We're gonna promise you're gonna come on over, and then when you get here, then it's like, well, you might be deported. You're probably gonna be deported. You and your family. We're gonna tear you apart. We're not gonna give you any kind of mental health. We're not gonna do anything for you.
You go work at McDonald's.
So who's going to translate? Who's going to know the areas of these? Who's going to know the area of these places you're invading? And so, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck the United States when we're invading all these countries and causing all this chaos in these other places.
I say it on this podcast every couple months. The Noam Chomsky quote: "Israel is the most indoctrinated and propagandized country on the planet. Pregnant pause. Second to the United States of America. If we knew what we did around the globe, we would be in the streets every single day. We're the only country that has 800 military bases around the country. China has a military base outside of China, but there's only one, and it's in Djibouti. That's it. We have 800. South Korea, they can't even use their military without checking with us first, because we basically control their military. Like that. I mean, that is how our tentacles. It's called the octopus. Those eight legs around the globe, because that's how we are the world's police, but we're really the world's bully. And honestly, what happens to all bullies is they get punched in the face and they eventually fall. And we're seeing the empire itself start to crumble.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Hegseth.
Oh.
So we talked about these boats.
Skeet keg breath.
We talked about this a couple months ago when it happened, but these boats being targeted, blown out the water. We're just being told that these are, like, we made up this term, narco-terrorism. And
now I'm really scared, and I'm high.
Yeah, and so, you know, they're bringing over all the fentanyl and they're killing all these Americans.
Everybody.
And so,
fuck the Americans, kill the Americans. It's these people.
Yeah, this is the hypocrisy drains me. I mean, I'm sorry.
You're right.
It's not even just the administration, but it's like the lemmings.
That's right. It's the follow. It's the Robert Burnses, right?
And
because you know what? Just let me pause real quick as you because you're 100% correct. But to your exact point about the hypocrisy, we need to look at this guy who killed, you know, the National Guard. We got to do a Muslim ban, but you just had Mohammed bin Salman up in the White. So which level of Islamophobia is it? Certain Muslims? Is the rich
ones that the rich ones? Yeah, you got to provide them the money. If you got the money, if you got $1 million or $5 billion, you got that Trump gold card. You get right in. You don't have to go through any vetting. It's a beautiful thing.
It's the Latinos we don't like, but we gonna rock it with, you know, what's his name from El Salvador, the Seacott.
You know
what I'm talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
That jackass, you know,
Nayib Bukele.
But then also, they also got clearance to work with what's the country's right next to Venezuela. They met with his president, Mark Rubio. So certain Latino people are okay. It's like to your point, Ron. Shut up, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, and we'll actually, speaking of which, Trump just pardoned the.
Yes. Go ahead. Continue. Yeah. From Honduras.
He just he pardoned the Honduras president, who was a self-described narco. Well, he didn't say narco terrorist, but
I would say that. Yes.
He was like, I'm gonna put so much cocaine into the United States that it kills him. Like,
just blow your nose off,
like
baby.
400 tons. So, like the hypocrisy of that, and they'd be like,
but these other ones, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime.
So how much did he put into his crypto account? Like what is
crazy?
What's going on here? And it's just they're doing it in your face. They're playing in your face. And
good point.
And then you're like, so which is it? Picking
the
lane.
Thing is, and you're right, Rom. Like with Trump and these other fuckers who are like making all this money off the grift, like. I get it. You're making millions, if not damn near billions of dollars, right? Jared Kushner's walking away with $2 billion from the Saudis. Trump's risen $5 billion based off his, you know, speculative crypto entanglements. But the fucking lemmings, you're right, man. The Robert Burnses of the world who aren't worth anything. You will never be a billionaire. You'll never be a millionaire. You'll never be shit but a racist white piece of shit. That's all you're gonna fucking be. But you up here sucking this orange man's dick and all this shit like he's Bubba and you Trump. You doing all that shit. What you getting out of it? But it's what Joy Reid said on some podcast. I can't remember, but she was right. She said back in the day, what the poor whites got was the ability to purge. Now you don't get to own the property the slaves, you know, made from being on the plantations, or what the folks who are Jim Crow working in the factory. You don't get the millions, but you want to go on a lynching raid, we'll turn the other way. We'll make sure that the paper says both sides. We'll make sure that the judge is on your side. We'll make sure there's a system that will never hold you to account. We'll say, actually, it was necessary you did that. That's what he's in it for. That's what these bigots, these small bigots who ain't got two nickels to rub together, that's what they're in it for. It's like, that's why they're like, when do we get to have the race war? It's because it's not a civil war. They want a Tulsa massacre.
Signed up for.
Right. I voted for this. I voted for this.
To get killed and dragged off the street and
family
separated.
You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Kids put in cages. I voted for this.
Shit chair, shit fire. shit fire, man. Whenever the white folks start getting hyped up, shit fire, boy. What you talking about now? Shit fire. That's them.
But these people, they don't put anything out there to say how they will benefit the American people. They'll never. But when it comes to brute force and hurting people, this is what I voted for.
Why does my wife hate me? Why do my kids not talk to me? Because this is you.
Yeah. So
that's you, brother.
Yeah. So Hegseth, he so they said that the story this week is that he ordered he caught when there was 2 survivors hanging off the boat. He ordered the second strike and to finish them, to kill them all. And they said that may be actually be that might actually be against the law. I mean,
it is against the law. There's no due process. Right? So
yeah, so
it's in the military code. Did you have to provide quarter, and you give no quarter? That is an infringement of military law. So when we talk about these are war criminals, this is what we mean.
Yeah. So now Trump is distancing himself. And
what did he say? I haven't seen this.
He say he wouldn't have wanted the second bomb on that drug boat.
What? And my God. Paul, we said this shit a few months ago on the show. I said the problem with conservatives, no matter what, or regressives, as they should be called, these are regressive people. The opposite of progress is not conservative. The opposite of progress is regress. What these regressives want is just control. But just like a perpetual 9th grader, they just want to be in power. They don't want any of the responsibility. And that's what. So Trump's saying, I wouldn't have wanted that. The buck stops with you. The buck doesn't stop with fucking Pete Hegseth. It stops with you, Kankles McTaco Tits. It stops with you. You got fucking 3-day-old bacon grease pumping through your veins. It wouldn't have been me. It's you. And Skeet Keg's breath out here murdering people because he is an abusive murderer. And those troops that did that shit, and I'm saying this all the time. When are we going to stop supporting the troops? Because like Noam Chomsky said, if we knew what the fuck we were doing around the world, we would be like, hold on now. Why am I saying thank you for your service if you're killing these people out of nowhere? And some troop out there pushed that damn button because it was drones. These are drone strikes, and they should go to jail. I'm sorry, and if I'm wrong for that, explain to me how.
Yeah, let's see if we can pick up.
Let's hear Kanks.
The first strike was what people were talking about.
These boats, after a first strike, left survivors. President Trump says he does not think Hegseth issued such an order. Listen.
He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike. The first strike was very lethal. It was fine, and if there were 2 people around, but not lethal enough. I have great confidence.
You say there's no second strike?
I don't know. I'm going to find out about it, but Pete said he did not order the death of those 2 men.
Oh, he didn't. Just bomb them to death is not ordering the death. Got it. Good to know. Because this is when you allow mediocre people, when privilege is not challenged, mediocrity rises. This is why they don't want DEI. This is why they don't want Black people, queer people, women in these positions, because when you are not challenged and you have privilege, when privilege is not challenged, mediocre rises. So what he's saying right there, to be very clear to folks listening, is that we are too stupid to know what's going on. In fact, no, we're stupid and we're malicious. And when he said Pete Hegseth did not want those people to die, I don't know about you, Rom. I'm not a military. Maybe we should be in the military to be able to answer this question. But if a bomb drops on you and you're in a fishing boat, are you supposed to be able to survive that? And these 2 people did. In fact, they said the wreckage was on fire. Imagine being in the middle of the ocean and holding onto flaming wreckage while your body is burning. And they said their bodies were also singed. You're fighting for your life that much. And then Pete Hegseth, that fucking drunk abuser, says, kill them all. And I'm supposed to sit here and say, that's the Christian motherfucker? That's the religious person? That's the person that cares about this country? These are the children of the Confederacy.
Yeah, even Hegseth has changed his tune in terms of like, yes, he ordered these lethal strikes and we're there to kill.
Use the non-lethal.
now Republicans and Democrats have
Drop the pillows.
opened up an inquiry, which I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Republicans and holding anybody accountable.
It's like
I think they're
themselves.
finally. Some of them might be finally having like second. Like, yes, he treats you like shit. What did you think was going to happen? You thought you were going to like. You gave away all your power. You gave away all your leverage very, very, very early on. So what the things you can do now?
Blow your whole load.
Questionable. You got MTG
Like
leaving. You got people leave. Supposedly there's going to be more that resign before. I'm like,
Marshall Green, yeah.
But these are very subservient, very weak people. But
Submissive.
now that there's an inquiry, so now Hegseth is saying like it's these stories are lies, misinformed, propaganda, whatever they want.
Like, sir, are you drunk? Are you drunk right now, sir?
And so, and they see what's happening with these elections, these massive swings. I mean, Tennessee, I don't think I'd love to see
Afton Bain, that special election. Yeah.
If she wins, amazing. But if she's anywhere within 10 points, I think that's
she's 2 points behind right now.
That's a red flag in itself. This is a plus 22 point Trump win. In this district, so it's like
people like fuck y'all.
He's like, you started losing by 10% or more. Like that's too big to rig. Like you actually may lose in the 2026. And I'm not I do not put it past this administration.
Let's temper. Yeah. I hear you.
But let's just say that. Let's just say like miraculously that we have a free and fair or whatever too big to rig. And the Democrats take power, and once Cory Booker, Hakeem Jeffries, and they all look alike. Hakeem Jeffries, they're two milk toast light skins. So milk
toast in the realest words.
What's the old man's name with the glasses? Schumer. So I can't remember names right now, but. If they do have, let's just say that they have the majority. Let's just say they have a 60-40 majority in the Senate, the House. They have enough to do these investigations. I mean, these people are breaking the law so much that they could actually see something. Now, look, there's going to be pre-pardons and all kinds of craziness, but the people who Hegseth is ordering these ranked officers in the military, they're retiring. The generals and the admirals, they're leaving because they're saying that, like, wait a minute, this isn't legal. I don't think this is legal. I don't want to find out. It's like,
now, Rom, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait now.
Because you saw them down the river.
Now, they were saying, hold on now, Rom. Because Caroline Leavitt said the seditious 6 Democrats were trying to get the troops to not listen to any orders from President Trump. Now you're saying that it's about illegality? Is that what you're saying? What proof do you have?
Look, the Constitution.
What is that? What is this thing?
So look, I'm telling you, man, the hypocrisy drains me. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some encouraging things over the past couple of days, but
what it is, man, and I think just to go back to our conversation real quick before we get out of here with JD, is like what we're seeing is mass cruelty, and when ignorance goes unchecked is when bad policy happens. I don't care if that's within a school. I don't care if that's within a company. I don't care if that's within a relationship. I don't care if that's within a country, but when ignorance goes unchecked is when you get bad law, when you get bad legislation. And for too long, we've allowed the most fringe voices of this country, which were foundational to its shape, the people that put ink to paper, the fleeing felons, not the founding, they're not my fathers, but the fleeing felons, the terrorists, as they've been known to the crown, to shape what is the standard, what is considered okay, what is considered to be American. And honestly, what we're buttressing up against is history in the future that can no longer be stuffed down. We have to start to address the Democratic Party, as we try to say, we're happy about if Hakeem Jeffries makes it to become the leader. we're not going to get into the whole Zohran Mamdani saying he shouldn't be challenged. We'll get into that maybe next week. But like, it's this idea that like, hey, y'all got to challenge your own racism within this party. You got to challenge the gerontocracy. You got to challenge the homophobia. You got to challenge the transphobia. You got to challenge the xenophobia. Kamala Harris come up there saying we're going to have the tightest border security policy out. Like, what are you fucking? Who is this for?
She sounded like Hegseth. I mean, Hegseth sounded like her.
Stephen Miller,
right, the most lethal force in the world is like she said it next to Liz Cheney, and it's like, hold on,
like what is happening?
Like, I was like, I'm gonna let it slide because I want to win.
I want her to win, right? Goddamn, goddamn.
I was like, that's a very weird message.
And look, it doesn't turn out because why buy Diet Coke when you get the regular shit? So we're gonna keep an eye on this, but this is a murderous racist, and it all plays in, with the CBP and ICE shit. It actually goes into the Venezuelan because they're not splitting hairs on if you're Venezuelan or not, or Mexican, or that you're all brown, dirty people to them, and they're the clean, white, Aryan. We put the pictures up a few weeks ago of the Department of Homeland Security of like defend the land. This is all blood and soil Nazi shit. And as someone who studies this, I feel very confident calling them Nazis. And their idea of like, oh, that offends me, then stop. If not Nazi, then why Nazi shaped?
Yeah, did throwing in, they started throwing up Hitler's, Sig Heils.
Twice.
And then they try to tell us that like that's not what we didn't see it, and they start talking about remigration. They talk about naturalization,
concentration camps.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's still like under the illusion or wants to.
It's a difference of opinion.
Rose-colored glasses of where this is going, where they're trying to go. To you, and even Laura Loomer said, "Well, the right has a Nazi problem." Well, you think you guys kind of just ushered it in? It's like
not her, but let's go to an elected official, a senator, senator from South Carolina, our joining state, Lindsey Graham, was at the National Republican Jewish meeting and said, I'm from the non-Nazi wing of the Republican Party, which inherently means there is a Nazi wing of the Republican Party. Fuck y'all Nazis, because if you're at a table and there's 10 people sitting down and a Nazi sits down and no one gets up, you now have 11 Nazis.
Yeah, and remember JD called Trump America's Hitler?
He sure did.
Remember Marco Rubio said, we're gonna regret it. We're gonna have to, remind. He said we're gonna have to remind people who fall into Trump's trap. We're gonna have to remind them every so often. It's like they all.
I don't remember that, but I believe it.
And so this is 2016.
Lindsey Graham's tweet where he was like, Trump is a
we deserve it,
and whatever happens, the party was going to eat itself, and whatever happens,
they all fall in line. Like these are people with no principles.
But they're right. But they're right. They were right.
Yeah, they were right. But but they fell into it. They have no principles. They have no backbones. They are they give, whether they give into money
or power.
They want to be in proximity to power. They whatever. So one last thing. Yeah, one last thing before. So Trump, I think we had this on the agenda last week and we didn't get to it, but since then there's been more, and you can judge a man by how he talks to women, especially in public.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And yes. So this was last week. Let me get it. This pig face man, like
fat, fucking ugly, hair like spun sugar, face all puffed up like a stuffed ham, fucking Mick Taco tits, cankles as wide as a fucking linebacker, got the fucking you actually look like a pig. In fact, there's a picture that's gone viral for multiple years of a pig's eye on top of Trump's eye, and they're like, which eye is Trump? So the I fucking dare you're gonna call a woman a pig really shows, one, how small you are and how you cannot be challenged, and how women truly scare you because, according to Stormy Daniels, you have a toadstool as a penis.
Yeah, here's you can't tell the difference between a pig's eye and a Trump eye, but
You gotta find that picture, boy.
Here, let me get it up here real quick.
That thing hilarious, boy. Look, Rob, fastest man in the West on the keyboard. Look down, just scroll over a little bit. Or shrink us. There we go. There we go. Now, folks, which eye is Trump's eye? Is it the top or the bottom?
You even got the blonde hair. And
well, I'm going to tell you, folks, it's the bottom one. Is Trump. And I know it was tough. It's that one. But if you're that close to a fucking pig and you want to call yourself the master race and everybody else is from shithole dirty countries, go to hell. Go to hell, you fucking pig. And I mean that shit because you act like a pig. You love to roll around in shit, and you're just a terrible, terrible person. And pigs, I would assume, would be terrible people because people would believe that they're not people, that they're pigs. So they'd be terrible people.
Yeah, so it happened again this week. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, he always,
especially black journalists.
He has no problem going up, saying something to the women journalists.
And this is Mary Bruce, right? I think she's with ABC. This is the same reporter that was basically asked Mohammed bin Salman to her face, to his face, about like 9/11 families are mad that you're here, and Trump, what you doing business with this man's? I mean, she's been about that life. I'll give her that.
Yeah, I will say. I will actually, I didn't realize that, but knowing that, oh, she's definitely got.
You don't like her,
but this is what these journalists need to be doing and stop pussyfooting in these spaces. If you get kicked out, so what? Are we going to be left with News Nation and Ben? What's his name? Ben. These podcasters. He even went off on News Nation today. A woman from News Nation.
He did. Oh my god.
I forget what the clip was, but he was like, News Nation is failing, and she's like, no, we're not, and she's like, yes, you are. Like, so he's unwrapped. I mean, he
lives in the universe of his own mind. But all right, let's play this clip so we get out of here.
Yeah.
There was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
Your DOJ.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but first off,
you ain't calling me fucking stupid.
He passed his MRI brain scan with flying color. This is the guy who This is a guy who asked to inject bleach into people's veins to kill.
I got a gold star on my MRI. My MRI test.
I mean, if this man called me stupid, I'm sorry. Don't give me a.
I'm letting it fly, boy. I'm letting it fly. You understand me? I'm like, you stupid motherfucker talking about some man, woman, camera, TV person, just dumbass motherfucker can't read all the clips of you not being able to read. You
John Wick.
I mean, I probably would be John Wick, but at that point, it's like, you know what? But no, you got to stand up for something.
I would say he would be John Wick. So.
But it matters though. Like, and then in journalism, this is just a woman trying to do her job, standing up, asking hard questions. That, sir, you were the one that basically granted this person asylum in April of this year, and on top of that, like, why are you now trying to move the goalposts? He doesn't want to be pressed. He doesn't want to be challenged. And that's his fucking problem because he's a thin-skinned titty baby and he needs to get his fucking shit together, but he can't. And if you look at him, he's literally dying. And his hand is always like, clock this, y'all. His hand is always like, it's always covering where that mark is. Always. Like when go back to Zora Mamdani Oval Office interview, hands stay like this the whole time. Bro he is melting and dying in front of us, and they're trying to make it seem like it's not. It's all good. No, it's not. No, it's not. And to hell with Trump. And those men in that fucking room who sat there and let her get called stupid. I don't know. I'm a journalist too. Fuck y'all. And this is the party of we're the big strong men. We're here to protect women. No, you're not. You're here to control women. You're here to dominate women because you feel insecure, because you want to be dominated. That's why every time some shit happens with Grindr or some shit comes out, it's some Republican shit. Fuck y'all.
We can maybe talk a little bit about this next week, but even the women are stepping up. in the resistance in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, we had her in the comment section tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Reba Hamilton.
She's famous. Like folks know, like that's the old lady from North Carolina who had that blicky on her. They called it her peace weapon.
Told them to get off my lawn. I mean, the women that get arrested at the DHS in Charlotte.
Yep.
I remember the woman in New York with the heels and the dress. I think she was an immigration lawyer.
That Jamaican lady.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about
yes.
that's why your wife is fucking on you. And I was like,
so yeah, I mean,
it's women, man.
Yeah,
you're right. And we need fellas to step up. I'm tired of men who, again, that's just, if you just go back, you pull that before you
not all men. I hate
yeah, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Because the men who are in positions to make a difference or when it matters, stand down. We've seen countless videos of women being harmed on the streets by ICE or just in general, and men are just standing around. But like, oh, y'all stay with me. I protect minds. No, you fucking don't. And this is why I despise patriarchy, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, y'all ain't about that fucking life.
Yeah, I know. Like, you know, I'm assuming you had similar experiences, but I was definitely I've come across a lot of cornballs who you'd be like, no wonder women hate men. I mean, I was out not too long ago in Chicago, and this white dude, he's like 6'2", about my height, and he's just staring at this girl like menacing, and then people are like, and I'm watching him because
we have to care about the male loneliness epidemic. We got to care about that.
And the security guard just kind of watching, and then like he goes up and she's like, "Get away from me!" And I'm like, "Yo, get out of here!" Like, I need men to stop. I'm sorry, I can't. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get my blood boils when I watch some of these videos, and like you just see like the men standing back and the women just handling.
We need to do an episode on this. We should do an episode on like patriarchy. Like it's bigger because it's the driving motivation of the country, at least institutionally, as who gets access. Who do we want to be in power? Who do we want to be the chief judge? Who do we want to be the head of the police officers? Who do we want to win all the awards? Who do we want to be the CEOs? Who do we want to get access to the halls of power? We have a patriarchy problem. And just like anything else, like John Henry Clark, who taught at Hunter College, said, to him, Christianity is nothing but a male chauvinist death cult. But like that is what America is rooted in, right? America is rooted in this level of like this white male patriarchal death cult of like, it's us, man. There's the famous man, George Washington, all the way to Donald Trump. And it's like, it's going to kill us.
And this male loneliness, whatever they call it, but it's
they don't want to
because it's like women are this idea that women are promised to you, like this is your rite of passage. This is your rite of passage.
So my royal oats.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I have money and this and that, so you should.
Hey, real quick, me. Yeah, I got this frat brother, and he was going through his residency or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this is years ago. And we were in the club in Charlotte, and this is a night like, Liz, let me get out. Ethan was really young at the time. She said, you can go out with your frat brothers. And I'll never forget this story. So he's drunk. I'm sober. I was like doing my sober journey this time. And he comes back to where we are in the little section. He's like, yo, seen this girl over there, yo. And I'm like, let me get your number. And she's like, well, what's your Instagram? Which basically was like, at the time, was like, I'm not gonna give you my number, but like maybe we could be Instagram. Like that's like, to me, I read that as like, I'm not gonna give you my information. And I looked at her and I'm like, B, I'm a doctor. And in that moment, I was like, what does that got to do? Why should she care? Like, but that is and he's black, this is a driving mode. We talk about the poison pill of patriarchy and how it is going to harm it. And these are single, now the motherfuckers in their 40s and shit. Like, you're single. I'm not saying you have to be married or anything. I don't believe it. I don't think everybody should be married. But the idea of like your loneliness is more important than how you are as a person, how you treat people, is the missed conversation of this whole male loneliness epidemic shit. Like, you're a terrible person is why women want to fuck with you. Like, be cool.
Yeah, I've seen dudes like try to, get women drunk or be around them the drunk when they're the drunkest, and that's when they go in. Or I've seen dudes who play the numbers game, who say whatever, like who just talk to every single woman and who say what they want to hear, and you even get in relationships and like,
oh yeah,
like especially in my 20, I don't have any friends that are dating anymore, but like in my 20s, like I was like, gosh dang, like this is crazy. So I get it.
But sadly though, our homeboys are not the commander in chief. They don't have the nuclear codes. They're not driving legislation to keep women out of the voting booth. They're not driving legislation to keep women out of work. They're not driving legislation that are not letting women have bodily autonomy. You know what I mean? So that's the. But the thing is, those people, their rhetoric in barbershops, their rhetoric at cookouts, their rhetoric, on the basketball court can then normalize and legitimize it up to other people in their sphere to then vote for those things. Because it seems cool because my homeboy Craig, my homeboy Jamal said that was cool. And he actually agrees with that shit too. Yeah, he's married, he got kids, he got 2 daughters or whatever. But he's like, he says B all the time. He says F these B's. It's like we have to break the back of that shit. So
yeah. All right, man. This was
all right, folks. This was a good one. Knocking over the mic as we get out of here. Folks, thank you if you made this far. Like, share. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe to this episode. Please make sure you tell a friend about it, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. That's how we grow this community. And we cannot do this in this era of corporatized media. We are not corporatized media. We are independent. We rely on your support and your word of mouth. And we want to grow this thing. We're getting better, I feel like, each episode. So we need you guys. Ron, any parting words?
No. Happy holidays. Like I don't have
happy holidays.
I appreciate you watching. Appreciate the support.
Guys, thank you for turning into the Radical Roots podcast. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval.
And we will see you